Hi guys and welcome to my new video. In this video I will talk about my experience that I had with all the Need for Speed titles over the years. Obviously this will be a personal ranking, so don't criticize if it does meet your expectations. Other than that, I will try to be concise, otherwise it will become too long and boring. And I will also not consider the spin-off titles released on PSP like Cargo on the City and Underground Rivals. Say that, let's start with the video. And the last position goes to Need for Speed Nitro. Need for Speed Nitro is without a doubt the worst title I ever played. Some of the people consider it a nice and fun game. In fact, Need for Speed Nitro is very reminiscent of Hot Wheels toy cars. This game was not a very success. This is due to the fact that it was only released for Nintendo DS and Nintendo Wii. I decided to put this game in the last position, but because the cars are really uncomfortable to drive. I don't like this exaggerated arcade style, and also because it has a very limited car list. Maybe it also comes from the fact that I am not used to a cartoon style in a racing game like Need for Speed. Even a really short campaign and the absence of free roaming made this game really mediocre. But if you still want to play it, no one is preventing you. Just make sure you have an emulator like Dolphin. And the number 22 is Need for Speed No Limits. Unfortunately, I have never liked the mobile genre, usually because they require the purchase of really money items to get along with the game. And Need for Speed No Limits is no exception. I consider Need for Speed No Limits one of the best mobile games in terms of graphics, and the controls are also studied quite well. But the problem arises when it comes to the gameplay. The races are too short, the game makes massive use of the microtransactions. And also from the fact that the cars cannot be purchased in the dealership, the game uses the car method like Asphalt 9. I have nothing more to add as I have played very little at this game. And the number 21 we have Need for Speed 2. Let's say it, it's not that if a game is very old, then it is automatically beautiful. Need for Speed 2 was the first title to be released off Windows instead of DOS. And while some of the people find this game very nice for the car list and the track choice, I decided to put this game in the 21 position for one simple reason: the atrocious handling. Oh yeah, I hate handling of the cars in this game. The game also has various problems in terms of poorly optimized graphics for the high amount of pop-in, and also for the poor frame rates. But the main problem remains the physics of the cars. The player in fact requires almost every time to brake his car during the race. Even the easiest corner can sometimes become a hard challenge. Too bad, because if they solved these problems and introduced the dashboard camera, it would have been more acceptable in my opinion. And the number 20 is Need for Speed Undercover. Many people criticize Need for Speed Undercover for the numerous bugs and glitches present into the game, and I totally agree with them. I don't know where to start. The game suffers from a lot of problems. The difficulty. Yes, the artificial intelligence is one of the things that penalize this game the most. Sometimes the opponents seem to sleep, other times they become expert pilots. not to mention the car physics and the graphics. Another badly story thing, in my opinion, is a free roaming. I mean, you cannot interact with the map, except for the first breakers and the possibility to start in the nearest race. And even the cutscenes speak from themselves, almost without purpose and even badly acted. The game has numerous other problems, but I won't mention them all, otherwise the video will become too long. But, on the other hand, I like the car list, the tuning system, the auto sculpt, and the polished chases. Too bad about the rest. And the number 19 is Need for Speed Most Wanted 20 and 12. I admit, in general it's not a bad game. It also received pretty positive reviews from the critics. But, in my opinion, the game should have been called Most Wanted. More than a Need for Speed, it looks like a burnout game. I found the game too repetitive and boring as well. Even if, to be honest, the multiplayer mode was very fun. Many people have also criticized this game for the lack of tuning, except for the performance and the paint of the car. But honestly, I really didn't care. I'm very sorry, but for me, in general, the game remains very monotonous and boring. If I have to choose between Most Wanted and Burnout Paradise, I would prefer Burnout Paradise for sure. And the number 18 is Need for Speed Payback. Although this game solved some problems of the predecessor, this game still has many flaws. The scripted police, the microtransaction system, the additions of loot boxes, and many other problems make this game a big disappointment.
Gotta stay ahead.
Some people criticize the carless driving system and the unrealistic damage, but I don't pay much attention to it. This is not Project Cars or Gran Turismo. The addition of the abandoned cars was a nice thing, even if they took a lot of inspiration from Forza Horizon 3.
Secret tech, this is ridiculous.
Unfortunately, the tuning of the car is also quite limited, wheels and paintwork aside, and even the multiplayer leaves something to be desired. Despite this, Need for Speed Payback still became one of the best-selling games of November 2017. And the number 17 we have Need for Speed Rivals. I don't have much to say about this game, other than the fact that it's a mixture between Hot Pursuit and Most Wanted 2011. Personally, I think Rivals is much better than Most Wanted. You can play as a co-op, the chases are much more compelling, and you can also customize your car, but only vehicles and paint job. But it also has some flaws. You can't put the manual shifting, the game can be paused even if it's single player. Sometimes the police chase you for no reasons, and the game is limited to 30 FPS even on PC. Although this game can be frustrating at times due to its difficulty, it must be said that Need for Speed Rivals is not bad at all. I think it's one of the most underrated chapters of the saga. Personally, I recommend this game, especially if you like breathtaking chases. And the number 16 is Need for Speed Shift and Shift 2. I decided to put these two games together because apart from the story and a few changes, I don't see all the difference between Shift 1 and Shift 2. I consider Shift as the predecessor of Project Cars. In fact, both franchises are from the same manufacturer, namely the Slickney Mod Studios. EA wanted to find an alternative to arcade genre, so they decided to create these two games. But the result was not what was hoped for. The car slide like a shopping cart, and the tire model is also very bad. I appreciate it anyway for having some features like the dashboard camera, the settled car system, and above all, the wide range of cars present into the game. But that doesn't save him from the fact that the car physics are very horrible, especially when compared to Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo. But despite this, they both remain fun games to play. And the number 15 is Need for Speed Run. What the fuck? Why is not among with the latest positions? So, while many of you consider Need for Speed Run the worst Need for Speed title, I personally like it a lot. There are some discordant notes such as the scripted artificial intelligence, the lack of options, the absence of the free roaming and the short campaign. But other than that, I found the story pretty nice, and I found the driving system very good too. I also liked how they reboot some American cities like New York and San Francisco. I don't like instead the fact that to unlock most of the cars, you have to play a multiplayer mode, and for the Xbox players it was a shock. I consider also this game one of the most underrated titles in the franchise. And the number 13 is Need for Speed 2015. Many people consider this game as a successor of Need for Speed Underground 2, but for me it isn't. One of the strong points of this game is undoubtedly the customization of the cars, and the story is also quite nice and funny to play. Unfortunately, like Need for Speed Rivals, this game cannot be paused, as it requires a constant internet connection. And the scarcity of the artificial intelligence and the repetitiveness of the missions are also quite perplexing. But I like this game for the graphics and the driving system, and the drive races have also entertained me a lot. I still consider Need for Speed 2015 a better game than Need for Speed Payback, but it's a shame that you can't destroy police cars here. And the number 13 is Need for Speed World. How much time spent playing this game, what good memories. What else do you want? Between a mix of Most Wanted and Carbon, combined with a multiplayer mode and a nice tuning system, I had to say Need for Speed World did its dirty job. Even if you cannot play online this game again thanks to modders, in my opinion Need for Speed World was put into the wrong hands in its official lifespan. As time went by, the games received fewer and fewer updates, as with the developers were on vacations. Since it was also a free-to-play game, microtransactions were always around the corner. In fact, you had to pay real money to buy more powerful cars with a boost. The thing I hate most about this game is the drag race, with those players using the double shifting technique. I started playing this game in 2012, and the fact that a Golf, for example, was faster than a Dodge Viper, it didn't bother me at all. And the number 12 is Need for Speed Heat. Of all the more recent Need for Speed chapters, I have to say this is the one I liked most. After the disaster of Need for Speed Payback, the police finally returns on the street. The loot box system is permanently eliminated, and goodbye microtransactions. The tuning system is expanded with the addition of new cosmetic items to add on your car. Cars can also be destroyed again, like Need for Speed Rivals, which means that the chases with the police become ever more intense. Speaking about police and opponents, I have to say that the artificial intelligence has improved dramatically, and I also quite like the story, even if it is rather short. But never mind, I like the game. But the main problem of Need for Speed Heat lies with the regards of updates. In fact, the developers have supported this game very little. In just about 6 months, they only added 2 cars, which one of them is even free. Are you kidding me? This game had great potential in my opinion, but eventually Electronic Arts threw it down the toilet. A big shame. And the number 11 is the Need for Speed. The first Need for Speed title, how many memories of my those. More than 25 years have passed. Oh my god, I'm old. For a 1994 game, it still has a good sound department, the interiors are very neat, and even the graphics speak from themselves. In those days the games were even more difficult, so winning a race was generally not easy. The game came out on different platforms, and all of these versions different from each other's. They also released 2 advanced versions, focusing on Nissan cars. The car list is quite limited, and you can't even change the color. But being a game from the 90s, everything is forgiven in the end. What can I say? I have nothing else to add. Simply a great game. Unfortunately, today it is nowhere to be found in the shops, so you should download it on the internet. And the number 10 is Need for Speed Porsche 2000. So here I will be very brief, since this is the chapter I have played the last of all. Why some people don't like this game for only having Porsche cars? I like it a lot. Each car can be analyzed in detail in the menu, and the doors can also be opened, like Forza. The driving system is still arcade, even if it has made a big step forward compared to Road Challenge and Hot Pursuit. It's just a pity that many Porsche cars look alike, and that some cars are exclusive of the PlayStation version, including some police cars. But other than that, I found the game quite fascinating from many points of view. And the number 9 is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Unfortunately, I played a PC version. Many people say this game is much better for the PlayStation 2 version. In fact, it was the first Need for Speed title to be released on the 6th generation consoles. Of all the Hot Pursuit games that have been released, this is the one I like the least. Perhaps because it is for the driving system, the cars looks like bots. But it must be said that for the car race they got it right. The same thing goes for the pursuits. You can also play as a policeman, and there are 3 upgrades available: the helicopter, the spiked strips and roadblocks. In the menu you can also see the statistics and a short summary of every car, as well as change color. When tuning this assist yet in Need for Speed.
High rate of speed. County local patrol. 20.
If you wanted to enjoy Hot Pursuit 2 to the fullest, I recommend to play this game on the PS2. Or if you don't have a PS2, you can also use an emulator. And the number 8 is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2010. Here is the reboot of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. This was the first Need for Speed game to be developed by Criterion Games, the same developers of Burnout. If I like this game? Hell yeah, I love it. Graphically it has aged quite well, and I also find the damage system remarkable. My favorite mode is Hot Pursuit, where you have to catch all the fugitives before they finish the race. And the multiplayer mode also entertained me more than it should. The further you advance in your car mode, the more the races increase in difficulty, and even the cops get more aggressive toward you. The only thing that bothered me about this game is the timed races, but that's almost the minimum. Too bad that no DLC has been released for PC, so I recommend you to play this game on consoles. However, despite this, Hot Pursuit 2010 remains a great game. And the number 7 is Need for Speed ProStreet. ProStreet was my first PS3 game, and I spent many days in front of it. At first glance it was amazing, the car being destroyed, the part being removed, and even the physics was not bad at all. You may be wondering, why did I put this game on the top of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit? Simple, I like this game a lot, that's all. I found the tuning system very elaborated, although gently not at the levels of Need for Speed Underground. The possibility to choose whether to apply the front rims different from the rear horns, a vast catalog of airbrushes and paints, and much more made me appreciate this game a lot. But not only that, the differentiation of almost every single car had always brought me closer to this game. I remember spending whole afternoon of this game, but sometimes it tends to be a bit repetitive and bosses often tends to be slower than many other opponents. A lot of people also don't like this game because it stands out a lot from previous titles like Most Wanted and Underground 2. Some people even consider ProStreet the worst chapter in the saga. Obviously everyone has their own tastes, and you have to get used to them. And the number 6 and 5 are Need for Speed Road Challenge and 3 Hot Pursuit. I wanted to put these two games together for the simple fact that I find them very similar to each other. On the first hand, we have the first Need for Speed title, which has chases as its main theme, and on the other hand, we have an improvement version with the damage system and the career mode. In those days, it was not common to see such graphics on a game. There was also the rain, the dashboard camera, and the cars could also be deformed. This however only in Road Challenge. I remind you that the first Gran Turismo came out more or less the same year, and these things had not yet introduced into the franchise. I also like the racetracks a lot. I also remember that Raw Challenge is the only game to have the playable helicopter, even though it is only playable on the PlayStation version. Despite their years, I consider 3 Hot Pursuit and Raw Challenge among my favorite Need for Speed games. Both for their simplicity and also because there are very few video games like that today. But if I have to choose between the two games, I would prefer Raw Challenge. And the number 4 is Need for Speed Underground. And who doesn't remember the good old Underground series? I played this game for the first time on my PC in 2005, and it was love at first sight. Between PC and console, I finished this game at least 10 times. Unfortunately, in the past I had a slow PC, but as a 6-year-old kid, I didn't notice it. It was the first Need for Speed game to have the tuning. In fact, I spent most of my time modifying my cars. Too bad only for the absence of supercars. But in the end, their absence was justified, since supercars are already as beautiful as they are. I am also sorry for the absence of both day and night alternation and free roaming. Trucks are undoubtedly the toughest race in the game, and it puts even the most skilled drivers to the test. And also dodging traffic was easy at all. The tracks seemed to be repetitive at times, but the addition of the open bridges, I must say, was a nice and fun addition. In the third position we have Need for Speed Carbon. I liked Need for Speed Carbon above all of the story. The idea of deputing a boss for each territory made me want to go on and see how it ended. Carbon was the chapter that I finished most of all. I played this game on PS3, Xbox 360 and PC. It was also the first Need for Speed title to have a solid online mode, the ability to move winners, the autoscope system, and the differentiation of cars, classes and levels. Unlike Most Wanted, Carbon also added a lot more cutscenes, which helped me integrate more into the characters. The drag races in this game are unfortunately absent, but at least we have the drift races, which I honestly prefer. I also like the car list very much. Even if to unlock all the parts, you were forced to play online, which unfortunately cannot be done today, as the servers are closed. I also enjoyed playing the Challenge series mode, although some races were quite demanding. But do we want to talk about the soundtracks? I would gladly listen to them still today. And in the second position we have Need for Speed Underground 2. I consider Need for Speed Underground 2 a nice step up from the first Underground. Finally, the first Need for Speed title to have the free roaming, where the player can have the opportunity to explore the gaming environment. I enjoyed the story mode thoroughly. There are many types of races including drags, hex races, drifts, sprints, circuits, and even the sub races. I don't like instead the style of the cutscenes, where they are characterized as comics, and the absence of the police also makes the free roaming boring after a while. Instead, I like the idea of also integrating the photo mode during the storyline, so that you can also photograph your car however you like and then publish it in the poster. But what is the strong point of this game? Yep, tuning. How not to forget all the hours spent in front of modifying their cars and ruining them on the street. I think a lot of people love this game for this. In fact, tuning cars was in vogue in those days. How many times have you played Need for Speed Underground 2? There are those who said at least 1000, and those who lie. And my favorite game is Need for Speed Most Wanted. When someone mentions Need for Speed, the first thing that comes to my mind is Most Wanted. It was the first Need for Speed title to be HD and released on 7th generation consoles. Graphically, it almost looks like a today's game, especially the Xbox 360 version. And finally, after Underground series, the supercars and the police cars are back on the street. The police in fact become once again one of the key points of the game, forcing the player to always have their eyes open both during the races and in free mode. In the story mode we have to beat 15 pilots of the blacklist, becoming the most wanted. Each charter has their own car and we have to beat them in different races. Not to mention the final pursuit. Oh my god, how intense it was. I remember the first time I finished this game and I was very happy. While some of you consider Underground 2 to be better than this, to me Most Wanted remains the best Need for Speed I ever played. Simply unbeatable. Okay guys, I hope you agreed with this list. If you want to subscribe to my channel, don't forget to like and click the alert bell. Oh guys, do you know that in November it will be released the remaster of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit? Can't wait for it to come out. Anyway, thanks for watching, see you in the next video. Bye.